If the members and guests can please take their seats. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. I hereby call local government full committee to order. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Representatives Calfee, Carr, Carter, Chisholm, Gant, Helton, Hodges, Holsclaw, Leatherwood, Love, Manis, Miller, Moody, Moon, Reedy, Rudd, Sexton, Shaw, Williams, Vice Chairman Wright, Chairman Crawford.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let the record show that Chairman Carter is excused. Is there members have any personal orders? Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very honored today to have a couple of guests here in the room with us. A tax assessor from Hardeman County, Mr. Josh Pulse, along with his mother, who's with him today. I think she's supervising him today. And we're just proud to have them with us. If y'all could wave your hand, and I'd like for the committee to help me make them welcome. Thank you.
Any other personal orders? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and get started. We have 19 bills on the calendar today. So we'll get right into the agenda. House Bill 1619 by Speaker Sexton. Proper motion in second. Let the record reflect I have received a 2/3 majority resolution on this. Speaker Sexton, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I asked for you to take it easy on this old timer today, if you don't mind. What this is just private act, Pleasant Hill, city government, Cumberland County, redoing their charter. They hadn't done it in a long time. The charter referenced he throughout, so they moved it to he and she, or he or she, and then also to they. So those are the changes that they made.
Question's been called on the bill. We're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1619 say aye. Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you for being with us today. Number 2 on the agenda today is House Bill 229 by Chairman Vaughn. Proper motion and second on the bill. I do see it has an amendment. Chairman Vaughn, when you get settled in there, please give us your tracking number.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. It's amendment number 6697.
Do I have a motion on the amendment? Proper motion and second on the amendment. Chairman, you are recognized on your amendment on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is the result of a lot of conversation between pipeline operators as well as the building and development community and also our local governments. It provides a notification process by which whenever a real estate development is going to be built within a certain proximity of a gas transport or a transmission line for natural gas, that calls into play some of the process by which people are notified.
You've heard the discussion on the amendment. Any questions for the sponsor? Question on the amendment has been called. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is now on the bill. You're recognized on the bill as amended, sir.
And effectively, the amendment makes the bill. Please.
Any questions for the sponsor on the bill as amended? Representative Chisholm, you're recognized.
To the sponsor, just a quick question. This bill has nothing to do with the pipeline going through Memphis right now, right?
No, sir.
Representative, you're recognized.
No, sir. This bill contemplates natural gas transmission, and to my understanding, the Bahia pipeline is a crude oil pipeline. But this has nothing to do with this. Actually, what this does would allow for a situation to where a development is going to be built within close proximity to an existing line, then this prompts all the notifications back and forth between. It's a different set of circumstances than your
follow-up.
Thank you so much. Just want to get that on record.
Thank you. Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 229 as amended, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Your bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Item number 3 on today's agenda is Chairman Todd's bill, House Bill 1386. I have received a request from Chairman Todd that this be moved to special calendar, and without objection, we will put this on special or final calendar. Item number 4 today, House Bill 198 by Chairman Zachary. Do I have a motion? Proper motion in second. Chairman Zachary, you're recognized on your bill, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. Members, this legislation deals with disabled veterans. There's inconsistency in the VA process for determining 100% service-connected disability, which creates significant delays up to 9 years. And so there's currently in Title 38 of the U.S. Code dictates that veterans can be paid back up to 9 years through that appeal process. And so what we're doing with this legislation is moving Tennessee code in line with the federal code for that 9-year provision. It does have $1 million fiscal note, which we'll have to work out with finance, but I'll be glad to take any questions.
Question has been called on the bill. We're ready to vote without objection on House Bill 198. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Let the record reflect that Representative Shaw has been excused. Item number 5 today on our agenda is House Bill 1626 by Chair Lady Hazelwood. We got a proper motion in second. Let the record reflect that we have, in my office, received a resolution of 2/3 majority. Chair Lady Hazelwood, you're recognized on your bill, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, this comes from Hamilton County, and it deals with the Hamilton County Law Library. All this bill does is change the name from the Hamilton County Government Library Commission to the Hamilton County Government Electronic Library Commission, and allows the library to go electronic.
Is there any questions for the sponsor? The question has been called on the bill. We're ready to vote. Just a second. Okay. We have been made aware that you have a speaker. Do they need to speak, Chair Lady?
No,
Okay.
that was just a backup plan.
Okay. The question has been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1626. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Your bill moves on to calendar roll. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so
Chairman.
much.
Item number 6 today on the agenda is House Bill 1618 by Chairman Kiesling. We have a proper motion in second. Let the record reflect that we have received the 2/3 majority resolution in my office. Chairman Kiesling, you are recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This is similar to what Speaker Sexton brought to you earlier, a few moments ago. This is a local bill relative to the city of Lafayette, the charter changes, and I can get into that. At your behest, Chairman, you did receive, for the record, a copy of their resolution.
Yes, sir.
I take it. Okay. But anyway, we got the age, an age change. They're also requiring anyone running for either mayor or city council to be not only a resident, but also property owner, and on and on and on. So
We appreciate you being with us today. Before we vote, I think it might be proper. The chairman's going to take a point of privilege here and see if you know what happened on this day in history.
Oh.
Maybe we should have voted first.
Actually, Chairman, I do.
Okay.
Today is the birthday or the birth of, I think he was our 3rd president, Chairman Thomas Jefferson.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I see we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1618 moving on, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Your bill moves on to calendar rules.
Thank you
for being here,
Mr. Chairman and members.
Agenda item number 7, House Bill 1373 by Chairman Whitson. I have a proper motion and second. I do see we have an amendment. I would like that tracking number, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. The tracking number I have is barcoded 6080.
That is correct. Do I have a motion and second on the amendment? Properly motioned and second. Chairman Whitson, you're recognized on your amendment.
Voted to reimburse local governments that provided health insurance benefits to families of first responders killed in the line of duty. This bill simply adds allowing the calculation of benefits under the federal COBRA program for the reimbursement of health insurance benefits to the first responders' surviving family. With the passage of this amended bill, the Department of Finance and Administration can reimburse local governments for health insurance premiums or the expense for COBRA coverage for families who have lost a loved one in the line of duty. I'd like to thank the Department of Finance and Administration and the Tennessee Associations of Chiefs of Police for working together on this amendment. With that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
Is there any questions for the sponsor on the amendment? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on the amendment. All in favor of putting amendment number 6080 on the bill, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is on the amendment is on the bill and it makes the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
Is there any other questions? Seeing none, the question's been called on House Bill 1373 as amended. All in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, committee.
House Bill 1028 by Chairman Kumar. Is Chairman Kumar here? Not seeing him, we will roll him down to the hill of the calendar. Item number 9 on our agenda, House Bill 1193 by Representative Garrett. Do I have a motion? Proper motion in second. I do see it has an amendment. I need that tracking number.
Amendment 5333.
That
Mr.
is
Chairman.
correct. Do I have a motion on the amendment? Proper motion in second on the amendment. You're recognized on your amendment, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment makes the bill. So what it does, this bill is brought to the Registry Bureau's Board of Ethics and Commission. And right now, any unpaid civil penalties that are collected by our Attorney General's office. And what this bill allows is the Bureau to hire an outside counsel to pursue and collect those fees. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to take any further questions.
You've heard the discussion. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Garrett, currently the, Registry of Election Finance cannot collect those dollars in-house. They need a third party, basically a collection agency to do it.
Representative Garrett.
That's right. That power right now is exclusively within the Attorney General's office. This would allow them to hire outside counsel to pursue those fines.
Follow up, Mr. Miller.
Yes, so that would include, political PACs, local elected officials, state elected officials, pretty much any and every one.
Representative Garrett.
You're exactly right.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Any
Chair.
other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote on House Bill 1193 as amended. All those in, we haven't put the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment going on the bill, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is on the bill. The amendment makes the bill. Is there any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1193 as amended. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Your bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Without objection, I will go ahead and, since Chairman Kumar has come in, we'll take him. Is there any objection? Seeing none, we are ready to go to House Bill 1028 by Chairman Kumar. We've got a proper motion in second. Chairman Kumar, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1028 allows local municipality, county, or a county having a metropolitan form of government to by local ordinance or resolution prohibit the use of tobacco products and vape products in public park, playground, public greenway, or public property that is accessible to use by youth, as long as these facilities are owned by the local government.
You've heard discussion on House Bill 1028. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, it looks like we're ready to vote on House Bill 1028. Without objection, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Chairman Kumar, your bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Item number 10 on our agenda is House Bill 1297 by Representative Stewart. Do I have a motion? Got a proper motion in second. Representative Stewart, you're recognized on House Bill 1297.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, this is a purely permissive bill that allows for a creation of a fund by a county mayor or chief executive for the study of prostitution, human trafficking, and homicide by juveniles. Senator Massey, the Senate sponsor, and I both have cities that straddle a number of interstates. Human trafficking, unfortunately, goes with that, and the violence that goes with that. This is entirely permissive. What it does, and the reason the structure it creates is new in our code, it allows for the combination of donated money and public money, and would be directed by the chief executive. So the benefit of the bill is it allows someone like a state representative to go to a private actor and say, look, we've got a specific repository for your money. Will you help us with this project? That's the bill.
You've heard discussion on Bill 1297. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Chairman Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to say the sponsor visited with me this morning, and I was extremely happy to entertain his comments because I had voted no in the local committee, not being able, in my mind, to determine a need for this piece of legislation. The other part of it is that having been a county commissioner and this coming with a local expenditure, which I would then refer to as an unfunded mandate, I will still regretfully have to be in opposition to your bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Representative. So the way that I look at this drafted, it's only as it relates to this one subject matter. You couldn't do this for a convention center project or a hotel project or a infrastructure or roads or anything like that.
Representative Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, Chairman, someone could bring that bill, but this bill does not allow it. It's very specific for this particular project.
Representative Williams. No further. Any other questions for the sponsor? Question is being called on the bill. All those in favor of House Bill 1297 say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. Your bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Agenda item 11, House Bill 1222 by Representative HAKEEM. Is he in the room? There he is. We have a proper motion and second on the bill. Representative HAKEEM, you are recognized, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. This bill simply attempts to clarify local governments can enter contracts with licensed healthcare providers that are qualified in the psychiatric and psychological field for mental health evaluations in order to make hiring decisions for jails. And when the local government relies in good faith on the licensed healthcare professional's opinion for the hiring decision, it will not create a cause of action against the local government.
You've heard the discussion on House Bill 1222. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1222, moving on, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Item 12 on today's agenda is House Bill 811 by Representative Powell. We have a proper motion and a second. I do see that we have amendments on this bill. Can you please provide the tracking numbers, Representative Powell?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I have an amendment that was added in subcommittee. It's 6637.
That's correct.
And then I've got another amendment drafting code 6857. This was at the request of the Department of Revenue to change the effective date to July 1st.
Just a moment, please. Just a moment. We have to take these amendments separately and put them on the bill, so we will deal with how amendment number 6637 first, and Representative Carr gave us a motion. I need a second. Properly seconded. Do you want to discuss these or just put them on and put them?
If I can put them on, and then I'll discuss the entire bill.
Okay. All those in favor of amendment number 6637, please say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is on the bill. We're now on amendment 6857, which I think is a technical adjustment. Is that correct? We have a proper motion and second on the amendment. All those in favor of it going on the bill, please say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment 6857 is also on the bill. Representative Powell, you're recognized on the bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This bill was brought to me at the request of businesses here in downtown Nashville that rely on tourism as their source of revenue. What this bill does is permit Metro Nashville at the request of downtown businesses to increase the fee currently in place in the tourist development zone from the current quarter of a cent to a half cent. To clarify these number, a tourist will be paying a penny for every $2 on certain products in that downtown tourist area. It's currently a penny for every $4. This is dedicated fund that's currently used today to help incentivize events and conventions, and this increased fee will go towards public safety and cleanliness in downtown Nashville.
Thank you, Representative Powell. The amendments are now on the bill. I'd like to request that the record, it go into the record that Amendment 6637 and Amendment 6857 be rolled into one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Representative Powell. I think the original nemesis for this bill was back when Metro was wanting to build a convention center, was in the process, and this fund was to help offset that debt service. Was that not correct?
Representative Powell?
No, that is not correct. This was to, I believe at the time, to help attract different conventions and events to the city.
Chairman Williams?
So you're taxing the people that are coming to Nashville to help pay for getting more people to Nashville.
Representative Powell?
Yes, first of all, I'll just say this is a fee. It's not a tax. But this is brought to me by the businesses downtown. I think in some ways, given that the businesses have seen, given the success in Nashville and those businesses that brought this bill, increasing tourists, a lot of them out of state who are spending their money here in our state that goes into our general fund for a lot of those collections. There's a problem and issue dealing with make sure we keep downtown Nashville clean and safe, and so that's why this is needed to help continue to keep downtown Nashville clean and safe.
Chairman Williams.
Thank you. Just the chairman stated, and I must have missed it. So who asked you, or was there a vote by a local legislative body asking to raise this fee?
Representative
Yeah,
Powell?
so this is coming from the downtown partnership and the downtown business community groups that wanted this fee, and that's who this bill is on behalf of.
Chairman Williams?
Representative, I'm not a big fan of this fee. I appreciate your advocacy for your local community. I really don't understand why we are doing this fee. Normally, when we have a fee like this, a local elected body will send us a resolution or a ordinance that would tell us to do that. But I appreciate what you're trying to do. I'm not going to be supporting your bill. Thank you.
Representative Powell?
And if I could, this is permissive. They would then have to go back and approve this at the local level. So I just want to make that clear as well.
Chairman Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the subcommittee, when this was first addressed, and let me back up 2 or 3 weeks in front of that, before it was addressed in subcommittee, there were lots of people on different sides of this issue. A very vocal, non-supportive element, and it still existed up until the day of the subcommittee meeting. Since then, there's been an agreement in what is going to take place that these funds are not really administered, I think, and I need to make sure this is correct. The funds are not going to be administered by the government as we would think of Davids County. It's going to be administered by the tourism or health or whatever the board is that manages the area, and the money will be used exclusively for keeping the streets clean and increased security. So from where it went as being two parties that were opposed. As last I heard, it was two parties that were in agreement. If you verify what I've just said, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr.
Representative
Chairman.
Powell, you're recognized.
That is correct. Appreciate those comments. This is a compromise, and everyone seems to be in agreement about this. And I'll just add that the money would actually go to the downtown partnership, and then they could expend the funds. But yeah, the point of this fee is specifically for cleanliness and safety in downtown Nashville.
Representative Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to ask this of the bill sponsor because I did want to get some clarity. My colleagues asked about who pays this fee. Persons who go downtown, like when I went downtown a week ago and went into the museum and then went and got some ice cream from Jenny's Ice Cream. People who go downtown, anybody who goes downtown, not just tourists, but also Nashville residents, also can contribute to this fee. Is that correct?
Representative Powell.
Yeah, so there's three things that this applies to. Mostly it's, for, as my mother-in-law says, tchotchkes and different things, but it's not for everything. It's just for certain items. And most of those items are targeting tourists. But there are occasions where, yes, Nashville residents could spend money on the fee. And I'd be happy if you want to go out of session, Mr. Chairman, to answer any questions on that. We've got some different folks here that are happy to talk on that.
Representative Love, are you satisfied or do we need to go out of session?
I'm okay with this going up, but I just want to be clear that it's not targeting just tourists. It's people in Nashville who also purchase goods and do things. But yeah, so if we can get clarity on those three items, I think that'll help out.
I've just been informed, no one give us 24 hours notice to speak, so
Okay.
we are not going to allow anybody to speak. Next on my list, I have Representative Moody. Chairman Moody, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I do not remember the gentleman's name that did come to subcommittee, but, again, I heard from him early on before the amendment, and they were opposed. But according to this group, this amendment is agreed upon by that group, and they are fine with it. And I just kind of, again, if you'll get that on the record and make sure I'm repeating what I think I heard.
Representative Powell.
That is right. Gentleman that came to subcommittee represents a large number of downtown restaurants and bars that are very successful. I won't name all of them, but Tootsie's is probably the most prominent one. They certainly are supportive of this, and I think all the businesses downtown realize the importance of making sure that we keep Nashville safe and clean so that all the businesses downtown can continue to thrive and generate revenue for the city and the state.
Follow up, Chairman Moody.
That's good. Thank you.
Next on our list, we have Chairman Carr.
Thank you, Chairman. When this come before me in the subcommittee of the Property and Planning, I talked with Representative Powell and told him I didn't like it and was going to have a hard time about it. Then I heard from some of the people downtown, and then I delved a little bit deeper into the amendment and got to checking on it so I can clarify a few things. And then these other parties did come back to me or in my office and then made the presentation last week that they were fine with this. And I will tell you what the three things are that it would be placed upon. The three things that this user fee would be placed upon would be T-shirts, beer, and lunch. Not dinner, but lunch. So they're trying to keep it open up for a lot of people that want to go downtown at night and everything and spend their money. But that's the reason that I came and was supportive of it after this user fee was told that it was just, like I say, on three things. T-shirts. So if you bought a T-shirt anytime, you'd pay on it. If you bought beer anytime, you'd pay on it. But your lunch would have it on it. But the dinner cost, if they were a lot more significant and more than the lunch, that would not be on a dinner price. So with that, I was able to pass it out of Subcommittee on Property and Planning, and it's a user fee. And so therefore, I do support this now because it will go to help downtown Nashville clean up with their tourism and everything. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Carr. Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, unless there are some other questions on the bill, I would like to call for the question.
I do have some other people on the list, if you would withdraw that. Representative Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you. I was reading through the amendment though, but, and I get what you're saying, and the National District Management Corporation is the entity that represents the people, but they only get 50% of the money. So 50% of the money goes to Metro Nashville. Is that not correct?
Representative Powell.
Yeah, so there's two halves, and this deals with that new half, the increased half. And so that this half, that's who's going to get that entity. Again, we're doubling it from 1/4 cent to 1/2 cent, and that's why that is in there.
Chairman Williams.
I guess currently it's 1/4%. You're going to raise it to 0.5%, but in that 1/4%, you're saying that the new distribution will remain 50-50, or will it go 75-25?
Representative Powell.
No, it doesn't.
Right, that said he does. Yeah, so it.
Well, he said it didn't.
Don't want to confuse the issue, but it basically will go to the same entities that it still goes to. It's just increasing that amount. But hold on. And I'm happy to defer to legal, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Williams for follow-up.
Your correct legal staff helped me to clarify for the representative whose bills it is. The increase is for the new entity. The original 1/2 or 1/4% stays with Metro Nashville.
Stays with the Convention Visitors Bureau, and then the new entity will go to the Downtown Partnership. So Mr. Chairman, the current amount is to attract conventions to the city. The new amount is to make sure we keep the city safe and clean. So the new amount is going to go to the Downtown Partnership. And so this will be split amongst those two entities.
Thank you. Next on my list is Representative Calfee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sponsor, we've helped each other a lot over the years. Why are we dealing with this instead of Metro Council?
Representative Powell.
Sure. So we have to deal with this because it's a fee and it's going to the downtown businesses. And you know, in my opinion, I think it's wise that we make sure that fees like this go to the state legislature, and locals just can't do some kind of fee like this. I think it provides necessary safeguards. But the good thing is once we do pass this, then this would still go to the Metro Council and they would have to approve it as well. So it's permissive. But that, I hope, answers your question.
Representative Calfee for follow-up.
So a private entity is going to spend the money.
Representative Powell.
The Downtown Partnership they're going to get the money and they'll be responsible for spending the money. It's the business entity that represents all the businesses downtown.
Representative Calfee.
Do you think this is a good time to be passing this, being as everything I see on the local news is all these big events are not coming to Nashville because we see a girl has to play on a girl's ball team and a boy has to play on a boy's ball team?
Representative
Is that an impact?
Sure. So what I would say is, I hope that the city of Nashville remains and continues to remain a place that people all over the country want to come. I know that there still continues to be a lot of demand for folks to come here. I can't speak to what different groups may or may not want to do, but I'm very hopeful that people continue to come back to the state of Tennessee who may have not gone anywhere over the last year or so because of the pandemic. And I think there's a lot of built up demand. And that's why we need to make sure this was something that was brought to me actually before the pandemic even occurred. And so this is a couple years process. And we've been working on this when we had Nashville was going gangbusters downtown, and we're hoping it returns that way, and not just obviously in Nashville, but the rest of the state and different communities that we all represent that rely on tourism. So,
Representative Calfee, do you have a follow-up?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Next on our list is Representative Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just want to clear something up with our sponsor. There were questions about where the money was going. And I'm looking at the original bill that was passed, and I don't think there are any changes in it. And the fee that's collected goes to Metro government to be deposited into a fund for the promotion and recruitment of conventions and other things, correct?
Representative Powell.
yeah, not the second half.
I know, but I'm talking about the first half.
The first half,
Because there were
yes.
questions about where the first half was going.
Gotcha. Yeah, and this bill does not deal with that first half, but yes, that's true.
So I just want to be clear, it's not going to Metro government to help run the government. This is to recruit conventions and other things to the city.
Well, this is to deal with the cleanliness and safety, but yeah, that part that will still remain in place for that 0.25% we already approved, that'll still do the same thing.
Right. So we're talking about promoting conventions and now keeping that downtown area safe and clean so that even if we don't have conventions coming, people who want to go downtown and eat and buy T-shirts can go and eat and buy T-shirts on a street that's been cleaned and been maintained.
Representative Powell.
That is correct.
Right.
Any other follow-up, Representative Love?
No, sir, I just want to be clear about.
Okay, thank you very much. Next on our list is Representative Leatherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've had concerns with this as well. A 0.5% doesn't seem like much, and whether you call it a fee or a tax, it's fine calling it a fee. It's still a percentage based on the price of an item, which a sales tax is as well. But beyond that, 0.5% doesn't sound like much, but it adds up to, according to the fiscal note, $2.1 million that we're taking out of the pockets of people that are coming down here, and that's a lot of money. Maybe it's mainly tourists that buy T-shirts, but I know some of us in this body may have been down there for lunch, and not me, but maybe some others have had a beer or two down there. So it's not just tourists that this $2 million is going to be taken from. It's local residents here as well as other Tennesseans. In regards to the security and the clean environment, everybody can be for that. But one, I don't know that there's anything here that says this fee won't replace or offset current expenditures for those things. And frankly, I think it's more of local government that should ask its people for the money to provide safety and a clean environment rather than a business organization. To me, that ought to be local government's responsibility. And frankly, Davidson County, with over $3 billion in debt, by far the most indebted county we have in Tennessee, I think we would all be better served if they looked at ways to save money and reduce spending rather than coming to us. I feel kind of like we're being asked to sneak $2 million out of people's pockets while they're drinking beer down here. And so I'm just uncomfortable with that.
Representative Powell.
Sure, and if I could, Mr. Chairman, so I think it's really important to make sure that we have a strong downtown, thriving downtown that doesn't just benefit Nashville, but benefits the entire state of Tennessee. That we continue to keep it safe and clean, and so that's what the businesses are asking to do. Because if we use that money and it will be used in for those methods and those manners, then that will help continue to foster a pro-business environment downtown that will thrive and bring in even more money for our city and our state. And so it's really just a tiny fraction, this fee that we're asking, which will help make these businesses, we believe, a lot more successful, make downtown a lot more successful, and generate a lot more money, hopefully for the state of Tennessee as well.
If there's no other questions, I will go back to Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Call for the question.
The question has been called for. All those in favor of House Bill 811 as amended, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. If you want to be recorded as a no, please see the clerk. Bill passes. You move on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee.
Agenda number 13, House Bill 873 by Representative BRICKEN. Do I have a motion? Proper motion in second. Representative BRICKEN, you're recognized on your bill, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. This is a bill that applies to Coffee County. It would exempt Coffee County from landowners association fees when they foreclose in a tax sale on property in Coffee County. It doesn't remove the lien of the association's assessment. It just exempts the county from having to pay it while the county temporarily owns that property. And Chairman, just as a matter of full disclosure, the final vote on this resolution comes to our county commission tonight. Again, I've been assured it will pass unanimously, but I want to be sure, in full disclosure, I made that statement.
Give me just a second, sponsor. Sponsor BRICKEN, we have not received a vote of 2/3 resolution.
Understand.
So we cannot take this up today. Are you willing to roll this bill till we get that?
I'd be honored to roll this bill 1 week, sir.
Without objection, we will roll this bill 1 week. House Bill 1276 by Representative Griffey. Got a proper motion and second. I do see it has an amendment. Representative Griffey, can you please give us that tracking number?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I have tracking number 007004.
That is correct. Do I have a motion on the amendment? Proper motion and second on the amendment. You're recognized on your amendment, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. The amendment makes the bill, and what we're doing is we're amending Tennessee election law that says if we're going to have absentee ballots, if they're not authorized to be electronic by state or federal law, they're going to have a watermark on them so that when they're returned, they're counted by the county election officials, and if they don't have the watermark and signature proper, they're going to be rejected. It's an election integrity measure.
Is there any questions for the sponsor on the amendment? Seeing none, well, Representative Miller, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, the amendment is 007004.
Correct.
Representative Miller?
Could you explain again exactly what the amendment is doing?
Representative Griffey.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Representative, for the question. What this will do is says that except for ballots authorized by state or federal law to be delivered electronically to qualified voters who are entitled to vote by absentee ballot, all absentee ballots must include a watermark approved by the coordinator of elections. The watermark must be easily discernible for verification purposes by absentee counting boards. And then it has provisions that the county election commission must approve the sample ballot, but they have to approve the watermark, and no ballot shall be printed until the watermark is approved and funds are appropriated for that. And then as far as when they're counted, it says if the counting board officials shall open the sealed absentee ballot envelopes, remove the absentee ballots, verify that the absentee ballots contain the approved watermark that would be required under this provision, and count and record the absentee ballots and the early voting ballots. Any absentee ballot without the approved watermark must be rejected unless a ballot was authorized by state or federal law to be delivered electronically. So we're it's adding an election a safety measure so that it's just not a piece of paper somebody could reproduce. It's going to have this watermark on it for absentee ballots.
Follow up, Representative Miller.
Currently, who prints the ballots?
Representative Griffey.
To be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. Our state coordinator of election, Mr. Goins, is here for that question, or I can defer to legal. My assumption is it's probably the local county administrative election commission.
Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, could we go out of session to get the true answer to my question?
Just a moment, sir. I'm sorry, Representative Miller, there's not been a request in 24 hours to speak to this, so we cannot allow anybody to speak to it. You're recognized, sir. You're recognized, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, you're not sure. So, Mr. Chair, could legal answer this question for us?
Let me check and see. Without objection, session to hear from legal.
Representative Miller, I believe they're prepared by the county election commissions, and reading the language of section 3, it says the county election commissions shall prepare a sample ballot, and the absentee sample ballot must contain a watermark approved by the coordinator of elections. So I presume from that language that it's the county election commissions that are providing the sample ballots.
Is there any questions for legal while we're out of session? Follow up, Mr. Miller?
Well, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And legal did say that the ballots originate at the local level, not the state level. But once they are originated at the local level, then the state must approve the ballot with a watermark.
Is that a question for legal, sir?
Yes.
Again, I presume that all sample ballots are inevitably approved by the coordinator of elections and the Secretary of State's office.
Representative Miller?
Thank you for that, Mr. Chair.
I have received word from the election, the Mark Goins, that is correct. They're done at the local level. So without objection, any other questions for legal, we'll go back into session. We do have one. Chairman Rudd, you're recognized for the legal.
I think there's some confusion here. The question is about sample ballots and actual absentee ballots. I believe the sample ballots, which were not what we were originally talking about. We were talking about the absentee ballots watermarking. I think that's printed by the state and given to the county where they stamp them. I believe the absentee ballots are printed maybe locally. I'm not sure. You approve both of them? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is there any other questions for legal? Seeing none, we'll go back into session. I have people on the list. Since we had recognized Representative Miller before we went out of session, I'll go back to him for follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to ask Chairman Rudd, his explanation of the amendment, could he repeat that for clarification?
Well, I'll yield to legal on that because the amendment didn't come through sub. It's been put on in full. But that was clarified that we were talking about two different things. The sponsor was originally just talking about absentee ballot. It keeps cutting off. Apparently, they both are printed locally with the approval of the state. So I guess they would have to review, and but that's the way I understand legal was talking about. But I was just trying to clarify between the two because they are different things.
Without objection, we'll go out of session to hear from legal the actual statute. Legal.
25206 says the county election commission of each county prepares the sample ballots of all candidates and mails the sample ballot to the coordinator of elections for approval. Give me just 1 second and I'll check on the absentee ballot as well.
Without objection, we'll go back into session. We do have some others on the list. Let me recognize Representative Calfee at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're recognized.
Mr. Sponsor, I really like your bill, but I have one concern. And I got up to present my bills, and I thought I'd better sit down and ask this. My wife, Marilyn, and I, AKA the Silver Fox, have known each other about 25 years, and we pulled a lot of pranks, some of them pretty elaborate. And she's an expert of downloading people's watermark. So what's the security of the state's watermark on these documents?
Representative Griffey.
Thank you, Representative, for the question. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert on document security either. I know that this would be an additional measure because the watermark, it's my understanding, the statute's going to have to be approved by the state and the locals. And so if someone's going to try to duplicate that, they're going to have to get a hold of that approved watermark. And the provision provides that the sample ballots provided to the public shall not contain the approved watermark. So I think what they're trying to do is they'll set up a watermark system where only the ballots that are actually issued by the Election Commission have that watermark. Now, I'm sure there's going to be somebody clever out there that might be able to do something and grab one and try to duplicate that. But I think this will make it more difficult.
Follow up.
It's not perfect.
All right. Just to get us back on point here, remember, we have not adopted this amendment yet. We're still discussing the amendment. Is there any other questions for the sponsor on the amendment? We do have a question on the amendment. All those in favor of amendment number 7004, say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is now on the bill. If you want to be recorded as a no, please see the clerk. Representative Griffey, you are recognized on the bill as amended.
It's available to answer any questions. Move for its adoption of the bill.
Question has been called on the bill. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1276 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means. If you'd like to be recorded as a no, please see the clerk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
We're now at item 15 on the agenda, House Bill 1625 by Representative Griffey.
Mr. Chairman, I'm waiting on a resolution. Could I roll this to the last calendar?
Without objection, this will be rolled to final calendar.
Thank you very much, members of the committee. Mr. Chairman.
House Bill 1616 by Representative Calfee is item 16 on the agenda. We do have a proper motion and second. My office does have the 2/3 majority resolution. You are recognized on your bill, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two private acts from the city of Rockwood, which is my district. And the first one, well, we won't go into the half a page of accolades that they heaped on Senator Yeager and I, but the first one is 1616 is changing the charter had been changed since 1980. And this has changed the way the training required for members of the electric board and the makeup of the board.
Question has been called on the bill. We're ready to vote on House Bill 1616. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Your bill moves on to calendar and rules. Next on the agenda is item 17 by Representative Calfee, House Bill 1617 on item 17. Do I have a motion? Proper motion in second. I do. My office has received 2/3 majority resolution. Representative Calfee, you're recognized.
Pretty much the same scenario, except this one deals with water, sewer, and natural gas. And the 1980, we're going to update that, we hope, and change the makeup of the board and how they, what their training requirements are.
Question's been called on the bill. I see we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1617 moving on, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
Item 18 on today's calendar is House Bill 505 by Chairman Moon. Proper motion in second. I do see it has an amendment. Can you give me the tracking number?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. 6518
That is correct. Do I have a motion on the amendment? Proper motion and second on the amendment. Chairman Moon, you're recognized on the amendment, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. This is a proactive piece of legislation. It's come to our attention that sometime in the first half of May, approximately $950 billion will flow into banks across this country on behalf of the trustees of counties. Currently, banks are required to collateralize those deposits. In the state of Tennessee, they must do it in 2 business days. This bill or the amendment would provide 10 calendar days. Additionally, this bill would self-repeal January 1st, 2023, May of 21, and May of 22. There'll be that amount of money flowing each time. That's the bill, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard discussion on Bill 505. Is there any questions for the chairman?
Question on amendment.
We do have a question. Representative Miller, you're recognized.
No, Mr. Chairman, it was on the amendment. I was going to get some clarification.
Yes,
And
you're recognized.
so it's on the amendment. Mr. Chairman, what are we going to do with all those federal dollars coming to the state of Tennessee?
Chairman Moon.
That's a great question. My bill only deals with the collateralization of those deposits and the possibility that it could cause some disruption. And we want to be proactive in the state of Tennessee to take care of the banks and the trustees.
Any other questions on the amendment? The question has been called on the amendment. We're ready to vote on Amendment 6518. All in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is now on the bill. You're recognized on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is a caption bill. The amendment makes the bill, sir.
Question has been called on the bill. All in favor of House Bill 505 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for being here. Item 19 today is House Bill 918 by Chairman Carr. Do I have a motion? Proper motion and second. Does have an amendment. I need that tracking number, Chairman Carr.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. It is 6251.
That is correct. Got a proper motion and second on the amendment. You are recognized, Chairman Carr, on your amendment.
Okay, what the amendment does is in 2020, and we became effective in 2021, these vacation lodging services, also known as property management companies, were taking all the money from these short-term rentals and other places and hotels and everything. And the way that bill was written, the Department of Revenue decided that money needed to come to the state, and they got 1.125% of that. Then they sent it back to the entities, which would be the cities or the counties. And we, along with the revenue, and the revenue wrote this amendment, they were okay if we rewrote that amendment to say that they could, when these companies collected all those taxes, they could remit them directly to the entity where it goes to, whether it be the city or the county. And that's all that does.
You've heard discussion on the amendment. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on the amendment. 6251. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is on the bill. Chairman Carr.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Amendment makes the bill.
Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 918 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Thank you,
Chairman and committee.
That concludes our agenda for today. Before we close, does anyone have any announcements or personal orders? Not seeing any, Chairman will take privilege here. I do have 6 of my 8 county mayors visiting with us here at the Capitol today. They are not in the room right now, but it's very nice to have them here, and I just wanted to recognize them. I have another quick announcement to make. Final calendar of local government committee will be heard April 27th, 2021, which is 2 weeks from today. So members, if you haven't put your bills on notice, you need to do that right away. You have to do that by 3:30, April 14th. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. We are adjourned.